Iolai Suzhou, okay? So for those who speak in Chinese, there is a stress on our first character, I. Because Iolai Suzhou literally means brilliance from Europe, okay? It also means that when you come over here, you feel very I, meaning you feel, you look good. There's a phrase that says 神采奕奕, means you feel so elevated, so brilliant because of all the European products that we sell, that you buy from here, and also from the European hospitality that we'll be presenting to you. And that you walk out of here saying feel E, and you feel very free, and that's what Iolai actually promise. And because this is a very interesting tour that you'll get from us, wanting to know the Chinese consumer a little bit more, so I'll spend a little bit more time to explain our name.
Yes, please.
Our name is not formed of phonetic characters at all. It was actually based on linguistic truth. So it is based exactly the proposition of come and be E. That was actually what the whole name means. It's a rally cry. So the Lai means come, let's do something together. So we never use in any of our characters to be actually phonetically different. Thank you. So sweet. And I should introduce the people, yeah. So that's how the character goes. E, so it's the first one, Lai, so it's E, Lai, and you look at it, E, O, Lai. Okay, so it's all folded for that perspective. So when you come over here, so that's our proposition, and I think you know Valley Retail relatively well. We've been famous in the last 20 years for creating retail, experiential retail. So this is not a surprise. After, in our 20 years, this is the 10th baby, so to speak. And the war obviously has marched on, and you will see later that this particular product is anywhere not less of more innovative, more creative, and really totally still answer to the same principle that has actually made us so successful as a company. And everything that we do is about servicing that particular aspiring target audience. The formula hasn't quite changed. It's always been that we are situated in a place that's almost like an hour and a little bit more. It's an escape from the big metropolis, and that's why you're now in Suzhou. And in Suzhou area, this little place here is a big escape for some of the Suzhou people, but mainly for Shanghai and also some of the big metropolises surrounding here, like Nanjing and the other one, Hangzhou, if you look at it. So the only difference is that if Bicester Village has one London next to it, Suzhou Village has 7. That type of big metropolises around it.
Yes,
okay.
indeed.
Yeah.
So I've never been to one of the value retail places in Europe.
In Europe.
And would I, for example, to go to one in Germany, correct, would it look, so here we are in China.
Right.
And of course it looks European or Italianate.
For a reason.
For good reason, because that's the part of the idea. I assume if I go to Germany, it doesn't look Chinese.
No, totally not.
Okay.
Totally not. But it's a very good question. And we are, in order for us to create experiential retail, we basically create a narrative as a story. We are big storytellers. So we create a storytelling narrative for people to come here on which that it elevates the shopping experience. So everyone can shop anywhere. They can shop in a mall, any mall that you mentioned. They can even shop at home. But there must be a reason why people have to travel for more than 1 hour to come here, to a destination that's different. So basically what it is that we created a novelty. We created a story that's based on the mentality of a tourist, of travel. So when you go to Germany, the village that we use is always based on authentic cultural and heritage vernacular of the region. So it will be a village that's built of that. Yes, it's Venetian architectural, but it's because Marco Polo, on his last journey on the Silk Road, he came to Suzhou. And that was the reason why. But everything else, from the name and to all the details on the architecture, because you will usher here quickly just now, you will notice there's a very strong Chinese interpretation of the Venetian architectural. It's like people, the settlers came here, they stayed here, but there was a great celebration of the Chineseness. Like, for example, beginning with our name, okay? And also beginning with our proximity to the temple that's to the left of our lake, called Chongyangsi. Oh. Because Yi is a very harmonious spirit. It is about that spiritual feel. The brilliance is about everything else. So it's not just about global, shopping that you look great and that's about it, but it's always the Chinese that's looking for that kind of self-identity that comes from inside out also. So we have a lot of thinking in how that water affects the building, and everything else we hear is built on the Chinese story.
We're in Suzhou, long known as the Venice of the East. Now, someday when the Venice of the West has sunk under the waters, Suzhou, we imagine, will still be here. It's almost as if you were getting a grand tour of Europe, but by staying here in China, inviting Europe to China, and it is otherwise known as Suzhou Village, a tourism experience in China, just opening now here in the spring of 2014. I'm here with Ruth Ang, who's the Director of Marketing, and with Noriko Volanti, who's the Director of Customer Experience, which we expect to be excellent here. And we are surrounded by canals, recreated Venetian-style bridges, a wide range of shopping experiences in a Ozhou Shirda, kind of a European-esque center in the middle of Suzhou. That is one of the newest frontiers of China's consumer culture. So Ruth, can you explain it to us a little bit more of what you were just saying? What does this have to do with Marco Polo?
And his adventure on the Silk Road.
That's right.
That's a good one. Well, to begin with everybody loves a story. So instead of just building a village of beautiful buildings, we decided to build a place that actually it gives people a sense of place by creating a story. So the story is always built on authentic history and culture. And first thing first is that Marco Polo did come to Suzhou. So we then use that story, and he did come over here and actually discover, and you can put here, a natural spring over there. And then with his settlers and also with the beauty from the Yangtze Lake, he decided to settle down and then created the little settlement. And then it's based on that we created this. Then when he's here, there was a lot of merge of a Chinese interpretation of the Venetian architecture. So this whole village was built not just of Venetian itself, but if you look from here on the left, on his whole Silk Road journey and mapping his Silk Road journey, he did go from Venice all the way down to Middle East.
Right,
down
and there's
here,
Middle Eastern for the
Middle
you'll see
Eastern,
it otherwise Middle Eastern
down
architecture.
here, and then all the way down to a bit more east, and then down to Asia. Okay, so you can see the changes of the architecture. Okay, you can see the minarets or the cupola actually changes. It is a very different buildings if you see all the architecture. So the whole village is mapping his whole journey. So
and as you were saying earlier, these buildings, which we shall see in a moment, are in some sense what you might call contemporary Chinese interpretations of European and Middle Eastern originals.
Yes, in some ways. When you walk down the village, you can see the tiles over there on that building here, the second building.
Yeah, sure.
And then you can see the third set of tiles there.
Yes,
and then there's another set of tiles on the other side. These tiles are a visual identity of our Silk Knot logo. If you look at our logo, you can see Eolai Suzhou, and then there's an icon next to it. And that icon here, like here, over here, that's the Silk Knot.
Yes.
Now this Silk Knot, as we also know, is a friendship and prosperity knot, okay, which you see on the buttons of the Chinese suit. Yeah, so, and because Shanghai itself is famous for silk, so that's another reason why this icon represents this particular destination. Now, back to the tiles. And the reason why I talked about the tiles is because all the tiles that you see here are handmade by the Suzhou Sifu.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when they built here, of course, this whole quartet that you look at is almost the Venetian quartet, if I may say that. So we got a beautiful waterfront, and then you also see the Venetian bridges over here. So this is a stage on which we present, if Monet can repaint, because of the lights at Nice, just like Eolai, decided to bring of Suzhou in a different manner. So we created a so to speak, quartet where people can see and to be seen as they're walking a red carpet, but also just like I love to do this, perching on this part of the bridge, like Dante found the muse Beatrix, and hopefully our Chinese consumer will be here and able to see romance and find their own muse on this whole parade. You could see people sitting around and enjoying themselves. And this, to me, is also epitomizing what Chinese consumers are looking for now. They don't just want such a literal product shopping experience. They want a whole dimensional one. And our positioning is why we say that we are the first ever to bring a shopping tourism concept to China. And the tourism concept is important to elevate the shopping experience. Our Italian name is La Casa degli Artisti, which is the home of the artists. For creative people to come here to push innovation. So we created a fashion platform. Of course, we sell fashion and retail, but on that fashion platform, we want to see the intersection between art, culture, and fashion. So you see designers in there, how they push towards using art to present their work.
Are these Chinese designers?
Yes.
Right here in Suzhou, a center of very contemporary fashion. Fashion the kind of which you're not actually going to find in Palm Springs or on Rodeo Drive, but Chinese designers that are cutting edge. Noriko, can you tell us a bit about Hu Shiguang?
Yes. So Hu Shiguang is a Chinese haute couture artist. He lived and worked in Holland for a long time, and this particular piece talks about women, current women, Chinese women in China. So he has a passion of expressing how Chinese women feel. And he's talking about how they have burdens on their shoulders. So as you can see, something very heavy here, something very heavy here, etc. He is very famous, and he also made dresses for royal families, in Dutch royal families. I'm sure that royal family piece doesn't look like this, but it's a beautiful piece.
Thank you so much.